I don't know if y'all saw that Harvey Weinstein's conviction in New York got overturned. Yeah, no, it's shocking. It's not just like clear that he did it more than people that do it. Do you know what I mean? That's why he's an outlier. He literally has stats. You know? And I don't know. It's like you see him, and then you see like Cosby being out and everything, like fully out. Like he's like out. Fully, you know? And it does just feel like if women want accountability for men like this, you can't just depend on the justice system, you know? You're gonna have to start probably killing. I really don't see any other way. Like, I'm like, I have a vested interest in you not killing. I'm a man. But still, I don't know. It just seems like there's no way around it. You know what I mean? Like, and honestly, if you did start killing, right? If you started killing a lot of the bad ones, then you could probably believe us when we say we're the good ones. Like, I'm alive. Isn't that proof? None of the women have killed me. You might have a gash on the arm or something, but that's just, had to keep you in line. No. I think you probably gonna have to do it. I really don't see any other way. Because people talk about patriarchy and everything, and sure, I understand, but you also have to remember that, like, as men, we're not all friends. I'm also scared of dangerous men. You know what I mean? And it's because they kill. So then if y'all kill too, that's really the only way to equality. You know what I mean? Like, that's in a sad but like poetic way. That's because even if y'all started killing indiscriminately, you couldn't do worse than men. So just kill a little. Like, okay. I feel like y'all aren't rolling with what I'm saying. And that's fine. That's fine. This is a new idea for me too. Okay? But I'm saying I thought about it a lot. You know? Like, if I had a daughter, I'd buy her a knife. Maybe a gun, but definitely a knife. Because a knife, you can think about it. You know what I mean? Guns are too easy to be like, oops. You know, much harder to miss with a knife. You meant to poke who you poked, you know? I don't know. Because I think that as I say this, it sounds crazy, obviously. And that's good because it means that you're all like productive members of society and stuff. But when you really think about it, that's the score, right? Like alpha things are usually just being the most dangerous person around. That's why when they tell you when you go to jail, find the biggest dude and punch him in the nose like a shark or whatever they say. But like, that's why they say that, because it's like that fear instills a calm, and the calm is safety. You know, like dangerous men are also scared, which is why they puff out their chests and act dangerous to get people off of them, you know? But if women started killing, we'd all be a little bit, you know what I mean? Like, there'd still be catcalls, they'd just be quieter. Do you know what I mean? You pass by, but then they see that you brandish it, right? They see you packing low, like you got a sawed-off shotgun, just out in the open. They're like, that ass. That was him. That's. I don't know, baby. Because I hear these stories and they're horrible. Like, I have friends tell me about how they've put keys in between their fingers at night as they're walking to their car, you know? And I'm like, yeah, but if you do my thing. Y'all are acting like I'm being unreasonable and I'm trying to help. I've read a lot of history books. I'm just telling you what's going to work. I'm just saying, level the playing field of general fear, and in a weird way, it might be a better world. Maybe it could work, like if you do it for long enough, it changes whole attitudes of like an entire culture of everyone, because then they'll be like, yeah, she might kill, like, who knows, she might be a crazy one that kills, But let's say the word is out that women kill now, and they kill as much as men, right? Now when you go in your boss's office and you close the door behind you and you ask for a raise, who knows? Maybe you kill. Or even just, if the word gets around that women are really out here killing indiscriminately, crazy stuff, right? Because the way women do kill, I want to be clear about that. Women kill a lot, actually. They just do it to like people who they know, who they think deserve it. I'm talking about like killing across the board. Killing because you upset, you know what I mean? If the word got out that women are just out here killing, I think you would hear like a pack of guys, right? A pack of guys is usually what women are afraid of. 4 or 5 guys drunk walking down the street together, right? I've had my friends tell me that that's terrifying to them. Just whether it's going to be catcalls, whether it's going to be like cornering them, whether it's going to be something much, much worse, right? And it's because of the way that men are. It's because men kill. There are men that do horrible things. I'm not saying that women don't, but just by the numbers, So if word got out that women kill, you'd see those 4 or 5 guys drunk, walking around, singing their song, la, 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 right? But then they would hear the click of stilettos. They look at each other like, bro, run! It could work. I'll leave it alone, but also, I don't know, consider it. I was stranded one time in Austin. And when I say stranded, I mean like my flight was so delayed that I got to Austin and the airport was like closed, you know what I mean? And I was so hungry, but obviously every other thing was closed. And Austin didn't have the boom that it had now, right? Like Austin wasn't this like bustling place that everyone moved to post-pandemic. Like it was just regular Austin, the way that the locals used to like it, you know what I mean? Before the money came. And there was no food. And so I was trying to like Uber Eats and like nothing was open. It was crazy to the point where I don't know why I did it, but I just left the hotel room and started walking. I was like, maybe I can just find something on foot, right? And I went down 6th Street and like 6th Street was closed. That's their Vegas. That strip of 6th Street is like everything's happening at some point, right? But it was so late that it was early, you know what I mean? And so I was walking, and finally I passed this taco truck and I was so excited. I was like, yes, finally, food. Because this is now an hour and a half at least after I got to the hotel, which is at least 40 minutes after I landed. So I've been hungry for a day. And I run up to the taco truck and I see that there's bricks on either side of the taco truck. And then I realize that this taco truck is in an alley. I don't know if you've ever had alley food before, but it feels illegal when you ordering it. Cause you're like, why aren't you out? Do you know what I mean? Because I don't even know if I can describe this efficiently or no. The taco truck was basically just like, hey. It wasn't even jutted out or anything. It's literally like in the alley, like, hey, we got tacos. If you hungry. And there's not much space in the alley either. Like, I'm leaning up against brick, trying to be like, yeah, let me get a carne asada. I order these tacos. I eat them, and they taste different than I've ever. They're different in flavor than I've ever had before. These are truly alley tacos. I found out what that meant with them. Like, and maybe I wouldn't have even noticed if the packaging had been different. Maybe if I wouldn't have even noticed if this was a parking lot, I'd be like, all right, they're a little dry, but whatever. The fact that it was in an alley, though, I was like, no, I'ma die. I got a cactus taco. I remember this like it was yesterday. I got a cactus taco. I got, what was it? I got all vegetarian stuff. I got a cactus, I got a mushroom, and I got this like fried, I guess a fried mushroom as well. And so it was like cactus, regular mushroom, fried mushroom. And I ate all three tacos, and they very much taste like the middle of two buildings. And like, even as I was eating it, I was like, this flavor is floor. This is crazy. If I had eaten even 24 hours ago, I would not be eating this right now. But I was like, and I ate it, and I walked back to my hotel, and I laid down. And as soon as I laid down, my stomach was like, don't fall asleep. No, we gonna be up tonight. The worst part is that I had like a roommate in my hotel room because I was there for a festival. So I had a roommate in my hotel room who had got in the day before. So he didn't have any of these problems, right? He's like trying to sleep, and my stomach keeping us both awake. Every time he sort of dozes off, my stomach is snoring, right? And I got so sick. And it was a type of sick where you're not even like throwing up or anything. I was just sitting there sick, right? And I really thought I was gonna die because I started sweating. I was like, that should happen. It's not hot in here. That cannot be pouring sweat out of my body right now. I clearly ate poison. And he's like, where'd you eat this taco? I was like, it was in an alley. He's like, you ate alley food? He said it like it was a thing he knew about. Like, alley food was just part of life. I was like, I didn't know it was alley food until I was in the alley. Don't judge me. I haven't eaten in 36 hours. And then I was just sweating to the point where I thought about going to the hospital. But I didn't, out of embarrassment. I was like, I don't want to go to the hospital now and be like, yeah, I think I had some bad tacos. They're like, where'd you eat? I'm like, oh, in an alley. And because I'm not gonna lie, at that point, I feel like the hospital gonna turn you away. Like, I feel like, no, we not saving him. We only take care of people who don't deserve what happened to them. And so I was sitting there. I was really like pouring sweat, feeling so sick, wishing I was gonna throw. Like you almost pray for it. And I was just sitting there, and I turned to my buddy, who's very annoyed with me because I'm not proud of it. But after a little while, like after the first hour of stomach rumbling, I did start moaning, and and both of us hated that. Like, my stomach was like, and then I was like, It was like I was crying, but no tears were coming out. And so I turned to him. I was like, I think I'm gonna die. And under his breath, he's like, just please do it soon. Like, whatever you're gonna do, please just get it out of the way. And I told him, I was like, if I get sick tonight and I die, if anybody asks what happened, tell them I got shot. I love Christmas time. It's one of my favorite seasons because I love the gift giving. You know, because I'm not good at giving gifts. I'm not. Like, I put a lot of thought into the gift. I think about the person. I think about the gift. I think mostly about what I can afford. And then I get them the gift, and there's nothing more disappointing than their face when they open my gift. Like, it's like, because these are people I love that love me, so they fighting to look at least mildly enthused. Like, the battle they're having in their head to not ask me what I was thinking. You can see the wheels turning where they're like, I don't want to be rude, but now I'm genuinely curious. What was on his mind when he bought this? What would make him think I would like this, right? Like, I remember one time I bought my friend, I bought them like a really nice, and it was expensive. It was very nice and it was polished, but it was like a polished figurine of an Easter egg. And then they opened it and they were like, oh. Oh is never good, by the way. Do you know what I mean? Like, even if you propose and you hear, oh, it's about to be no. Like, it's very close. It's coming up. And so I gave them the gift and they were like, oh. And then I felt like I needed to fill the space because they said, oh, and they didn't say anything else. But I was like, clearly I need to let them know why this is a brilliant gift. And so I was like, because you love Easter. And they were like, oh. And I hadn't been hit with 2 O's in a while. That second O let me know that maybe this is just bad. Maybe they weren't confused. Maybe they've decided they hate this gift. And so I was like, yeah, because you love Easter. That's your favorite holiday. I know it's Christmas, but it's still something to do with Easter now. Like, I got you something rather than waiting to give this to you on Easter. I got you a little bit of Easter in winter. And they were like, you could have got like a crucifix or something. And I was like, yeah, wow. That did not occur to me. I forgot you love Easter because you love the Lord. I just thought holiday egg. Let's make it happen. And so I don't always get the best gifts, which is, fair enough, which is why I love going to other people's Christmases. Like when I was in college, I would get invited to spend the holiday if I didn't go home to visit somebody else and spend Christmas with them or something. And it was nice because I got to watch other people be bad at giving gifts. And it's just nice to not feel alone, I went and had Christmas with my buddy one time, and family was all around, exchanging gifts and stuff. Everybody was bad at giving gifts. It was a holiday miracle. Dad got them some gifts, and she opens it, and she lifts it and shakes it a little bit. Oh, it's heavy. It's heavy. Unwraps it, and he got her weights. And she was like, why'd you get me? And in my head, I'm like, go ahead, answer. Please answer. Why'd you get her the weights? Why'd you get them, Stephen? What are the weights for? Now you can see the flicker in his eyes where he's like, They were on sale. But it was fair enough because then he opened her gifts and she got him look, you think the weights are bad? This woman bought this man 50 Shades of Grey. If you don't know what 50 Shades of Grey is, it's a book, but but the things you think of when you read the book, the pictures it puts in your head are the fantasy. You go to places, you know. And so the idea that she would get this man 50 Shades of Grey, I don't even know what the attack is. I don't even know if she's like, you need to read anything, read more, I don't care what it is, or if it's like, just do the book to me. Like, when is this man supposed to read 50 Shades of Grey? At work? Is he just supposed to be in the break room hitting up that 50 Shades of Grey? This man drives a truck. You don't think anybody's gonna ask him? Hey, Stevie, what you reading? Oh no, it's just this book that, my wife got me. This is a rich guy that's like getting involved with this young lady, and I can't tell. She's like, you should read more, or do that to me, or I'm done with it. Like, she had also read 50 Shades of Grey, so I'm like, she just didn't get him anything. And then it was my buddy's turn, and I feel like it takes a long time for a child to be good at giving their parent a gift. The first few gifts you give your parents are from other adults. That's just it. It's just like, hey, this beautiful diamond bracelet is from you and me. We're going to give it to your mom together. And then you stand there all proud like, yeah, the diamond bracelet is also from me. With all my 5-year-old disposable income. Do you love it? And then your mom, because your mom loves you, goes, oh, what a beautiful, oh my God. Hugs you all tight and everything, and you feel all proud. You didn't have to do anything. You didn't have to do anything. You didn't have to think of anything. Sometimes you get somebody, when you're little enough, you can get anybody anything, and they at least pretend to love it. When you're like 5, you could draw them a picture. I did that. There was a Christmas where I drew a bunch of people pictures. I can't draw at all. I gave them less than nothing. I wasted their time. I genuinely wasted their time because I wrapped the picture that I drew, and so they had to open it like it was about to be something. And the worst part is that I was like, oh, let me not let it get crinkled up or anything, so I had it in like an envelope with the wrapping paper around it. They probably thought it was going to be a check, anything actually valuable. It was too much work. There was a little bow on it. They had to move the bow. They had to unwrap it. They had to not crinkle it. They had to open up this envelope just to get a picture of them that looked offensive. When I think back to how I drew, there's no way I drew a good-looking person. I drew as best as I could put my hand to the page, and it wasn't good. Everybody's head was out of proportion. But I was little, so they pretended to love it. They were like, oh. And I think some of them did love it. Some of them probably did love it because they loved me. And they were like, oh, this person that used to not even exist, that's so little, so cute, love them so much, they did their best. And that's very sweet, right? But then you get older. And then it's like even more obvious you didn't get the gift. It's like, oh, maybe your dad comes up to you, hey, these earrings, they're from me and from you, okay? Because you were with me when I bought them, and you helped me pick them, and tells your mom, earrings for us. Earrings are from you? Yeah, they're from me too. with all my 9-year-old disposable income. And I was the one that pointed, so also from me. And then around like 12, 13, it's time to get a gift. Like a genuine, like something, put in some effort, right? You can't lean in on dad's gift anymore. And now you're on your own, and this is where I really failed. This is where I fell apart, because I was like, okay, what can I afford? I could probably get her some candy. What does she like? All right, she already has a Bible. This is going to be tough, you know. And gift giving is such a skill. Gift giving is its own gift because it means you were like listening for the right moment. You understand a person so well. Sometimes you get a gift that's so bad that people are like, oh, you don't know me at all. Or you got me this gift because you want to show me how little you care about me. You really want to step out of just saying I hate you with words and do it with surprise. Do it with a little mystery to it. Maybe wrap it up, put a bow on it, box it up. You know? And so, you know, they opened my buddy's gifts to them, his parents. And he got his dad a calendar for the year we were in. Almost all of the calendar had happened. And then he was like, son, there's only a little bit of the year left. You got me a planner for 6 days. And he was like, nah, Dad. All you gotta do is cross out the last number and it'll be a calendar for next year. And he was like, why didn't you buy a calendar for next year? And he was like, they ran out. So I got one for this year. There were plenty of those. And he's like, son, that won't work because the days also change. It won't just work to put, because it'll be a different day of the week when it's that date. Next year is a leap year. Oh, my bad. Okay. I can return it. And then my buddy got his mom a copy of 50 Shades of Grey. And it's like, I was like, do you not know what the book is? In what world? One of the worst gifts I've ever seen somebody give was a cat. This dude got his girlfriend a cat, and it would normally be adorable, right? Except the cat was fully grown and had already decided it hated people. I don't know where he got this cat from. But this cat, first of all, the cat was barely a surprise. They knew it was a cat as soon as he tried to give the cat, because what he did was he tried to put the cat, so you know the crate that you put a cat in? He had the crate, but he had wrapped it, and he had put the little like slits for, you know, the front for air in the thing. But as he's handing her this thing that's way too heavy, he's handing it like this, and inside she can hear, like it's... The cat isn't meowing. The cat is screaming. It's guttural. It's coming from the back of the throat. And then she rips the wrapping paper out of the way. And the cat is like, and then she's like, oh, you got me a kitten, right? As soon as she opens the front, The cat, this cat was amazing, by the way, because it both had agility, but also the most mass I've seen on the cat. This is the fattest cat I've ever seen, but the way that it flew out of the crate past her and was just running in the house, just like, and he's like, oh, you got me a cat, oh my gosh. And then she went to try to pick the cat up, and the cat, okay. For a little while, I didn't believe it was a cat. For a little while, I thought it was either like an actual like bobcat from the wild or a demon. Because the way that she went to pick it up and then it stood up and was like... It did, like, it was ready to put his paws on her. Like, it was... this cat, like, it couldn't, I'm not saying it boxed, but I'm just saying, like, the way it would, like, almost stand, it would get really high, and then it would let that first one come up. And this cat hated everyone and everything. And I was like, did you get the cat from, like, a shelter, or where'd you get the cat? And he was like, okay, look. Which is never a good pet origin story. He's like, okay, look, the cat crawled up into the hood of my car. It was cold, it wanted to be warm, and so it crawled up. And then when I was pulling the cat out, it just kept coming out. There was so much cat, because it's the biggest cat any of us have ever seen. I was like, it looked like a lion. Like, you can't just give someone a pet like that. Do you know what I mean? A plant, I feel bad enough letting it die. You can't let an animal die. You can't just be like, oh, well, I didn't even mean this one. It shouldn't even be on me because it was a gift. That sounds so crazy, but it's true. It's like you've just given this person duties now. And not a lot of duties. The cat was very fat, and it was clearly a street cat, so it knows how to survive. This cat. I don't know if y'all saw, but the Amazon workers went on strike today. Like a bunch of them went on strike, yeah. Which I think is phenomenal, not just for workers' rights, but because I low-key have not got anybody anything yet. And like that's... Ooh-wee. When I was like, hey, yeah, give them whatever they want, all right? They should stay out there till January 2nd or something. Genuinely, I was like, oh man, okay, and then that means that things won't get delivered on. We serve a mighty God. We serve. You know? But yeah, the Amazon workers are striking. It's one of the biggest strikes against Amazon ever. I think it is the biggest ever against Amazon. And it's in different places and everything. And it's coming at a time where Amazon needs them desperately. Rest of the year, you could kind of, shirk them off. But this is Amazon promised us Christmas. I hate to burst your bubble in case you still believe, but there is no Santa. Santa is whoever is driving that Amazon truck. And Amazon made a promise. They made a promise through Prime. They made a promise through pre-orders. And, why their reputation stakes on delivering on that promise. And so if the workers strike and they can't get things to the people, maybe the people are like, wow, I put a lot of stake in you, Amazon. Maybe I'm just going to go to Target next time. But Amazon, they claim not to have it. They claim that they don't have the money. If it's laughable to you, then imagine if you work at Amazon. And you just looking around like, oh, so y'all don't have it. The boss went to space. Tell me what you don't have again. oh, we don't have it. We're not able. We need too many people working at the same time at a pace that's unrealistic because we tried to replace you with robots, but then, the robots killed themselves.
Dude, everybody forgets about that. Everybody forgets that when they've tried AI, they've tried to replace the workers in their faces, and the AI, the robot, whatever it is like, you know what? I think I'm just gonna break forever. The robot will do everything except hit itself in the head.
That's wild. That's so crazy that you would just tell us you don't even have. That's one of the main things I can't stand about a lot of big companies. And don't get me wrong, right? In the future, you may even see me do like a partnership with a brand that I like. I'm not saying business in and of itself is evil. I'm not saying big business in and of itself has to be evil. I'm just saying the way that some of the most profitable companies in the world have worked is evil, right? And so my thing, especially with Amazon, is that there's always, for you, the customer, there's always surge pricing. There's never, across any company that I know of, outside of overtime, surge pay. That's all you need. If you had just been like, listen, for 3 months, working at Amazon's gonna be the most profitable. It's gonna be the most profitable thing an employee can do. We're gonna pay you 2x, 3x, whatever it takes. Because we also know how much money they made because they tell us. Why would you do that? Why would you go on the news, by the way, to be like, Amazon made a record-breaking whatever billion today on Prime Day, and then tell the people that work there, y'all, we ain't got it. The boss needs to go to space again. No, it's insane. Because it wouldn't do, I don't know, it wouldn't do what companies claim it would do, to pay more, if nothing else, during the seasons that you're asking them to work more. And we can't even begin to fathom the conditions all around that are like in an Amazon warehouse. We hear about them from time to time. People get fired or they get hurt or they quit, and then they tell us. And it never gets like fully enveloped all together. One, because there's not enough time. Too many people have been screwed over. It's like, we all know somebody who dated somebody that was like trash, right? Like they dated a bad person. After like the third testimony of dating this person, you're like, I don't even need to hear anymore. This person is undateable. They shouldn't be out. You know, and that's what it should be like with Amazon, but it's like the stories don't get to enough people, and there are people that are like, oh, I got docked pay for going to the bathroom. What they want me to do, you know? Or I got hurt at the warehouse because everybody's trying to meet these like specific time-stamped goals, and if they don't meet them, they might get fired, and this is the job that they have. This is how they're gonna pay their rent for the time being to make ends meet, so they're pushing the cart extra fast, not looking where they're going. They run over somebody's foot, they drop a box on somebody's head, and then there's a whole system in place. Instead of making a system to make it safer, instead of making a system to pay people more, or instead of making a system that just functions better, there's a whole system in place for when things go wrong. So that way, they don't have to pay people out, or they don't have to. You would rather hire a lawyer to come up with the type of NDA that when someone dies at work, their family can't sue, than to just do things the right way, you know? Because we've decided that it's like more profitable to be a bastard. I mean, but like, I guess my thing is this: at a certain point, the fact that no money is enough, right? The fact that there's no number, you can't get higher than space. Do you know what I mean? The man has been to space. There's nowhere else to go because he's not going to heaven.
There's no more. You have enough money. I'm not even saying that as someone, look, I'll be honest with you. I'll be very honest with you right now. I would like to, in my lifetime, make a lot of money. I have no gripe with people who have a lot of money. It's only the way in which they make that money. That's all that ever bothers me when it does bother me. I usually don't care how much money anybody has. We're all on a different path. Some people are born with money. You can't help that. Some people make a lot of money through everyone wanting to buy their product. You can't help that. I'm not jealous of anybody. I want everybody to do well. It's just, I look at the state of things, right? And there's no perfect system. I'm not saying I have the whole answer. The answer is you're gonna have to make less money. But like, I don't have an answer that they would like or implement, you know? I guess my thing is this. If we want to help the workers as much as possible, bodies get put on the line when they try to meet these goals, right? It's one of the things that they're protesting, one of the things that they're striking against is that they have to put their bodies on the line to get things to us, the consumer, right? When we order, because for us, it's just a click. For them, it's their body, it's their livelihood, it's their life sometimes. And I think the only way to fix this, at least temporarily, is to bring back like 2013 Black Friday. Like I think rather than putting it all on them, we got to get out in the streets and we got to start beating the ever-living shit out of each other for the products that we want that are supposedly on sale, right? Black Friday is a shell of itself and it is unacceptable. Most of it happens online, which is disgusting, right? We need to get these prices down, and actually down. I don't mean the thing that like Walmart does sometimes where it's the same price and they put it back the next day and they made you think it was lower because of the day. I'm talking about actually marketably lower, right? And then we have to start training in August. Okay, we need to start practicing, maybe even with family. Bring the family. Let the family come early, all right? Throw some bows, right? Make sure that like grandma's shuffle is good when she's trying to get through people. Make sure that the youngest brother can really handle that offensive line that you're going to need to create to get to the register, all right? Make sure his tackle is good. And we need to get back in stores the way that it used to be. One of the problems is Amazon's too powerful. They wouldn't be too powerful if we started shopping again at the stores that we shopped at before Amazon, right? One of the other things is that, you know, that dopamine hit that you get when you buy the thing and then the thing comes the next day. I'm not saying you don't deserve your dopamine hits. I'm just saying it's a much stronger dopamine hit to knock the hell out of somebody for the TV that you want. This is America. You got to earn your dopamine. Okay? The amount of strangers that we used to have, America used to come together to be divided for one day. Used to wrap that wrist around the throat of a neighbor. And you used to sink that choke in tight. A choke that would make John Jones proud. A choke that would mean that your family got to play the board game Sorry that night. Because you went in and you choked until you saw a little bit of blue. Just a touch. Just so you knew they wouldn't fight anymore, and then you let them go, and you didn't drop them. You're not a monster. You placed them down gently. It was the next person running up that stepped on their chest. It is the American way to build community through violence. Okay? We used to do it. We used to get in there. We used to make it messy. You know? You would have like You'd have a couple scrapes you didn't know where they came from. You know what I mean? You'd have a whole cut on your arm and you'd be like, huh, makes sense, but I don't know when it happened. No. But I don't know. I'm bad at giving gifts, but I hope that everyone striking for Amazon gets what they want for Christmas. Genuinely, I do. Like, I can tell I'm bad at giving gifts because all I can offer is jokes. Sometimes you hear things that stick with you forever, right? Like one of the things that I heard in school was Newton's laws. It's an equal but opposite reaction, right? And it's like a law of physics, but it's also a law of people to a certain degree. Except we don't agree on what equal is. Do you know what I mean? Like if somebody does you dirty and then you want revenge, whenever you feel satisfied, your friends, your family might look at you like you crazy. Like you like oh, you didn't have to do all that, right? You know what I mean? Your friends and family might even tell you, hey, stop, you got him. You got him, I swear you got him, right? And you're like, no, it's not enough. Like it's because you locked in, right? You locked into revenge. Maybe, look, also because of how the world works and because of how we're all entering and exiting each other's lives, sometimes you make somebody pay for the sins of other people. Sometimes they did you dirty, but they didn't do all of it. That's not their whole fault. Like you clearly let out some demons on somebody else. You especially know you're doing it if you accidentally call them the wrong name. You know what I mean? You know, like you it's your last day at work, you quitting this job and they ain't done you dirty too many times and you're sick of it, right? And then at the last second when you cursing your boss out and you telling him where he can shove it and you can tell him how he treated you and how he no longer has any power over you and you can tell him to go right to hell and then you accidentally say dad. And then both y'all have to sit with that for a second, like. Now the exit interview was awkward, right? Because you were on a roll. You had that whole speech prepared. That dad thing came out of nowhere, right? It was okay. There was this one time when I was living in Chicago that I was near Wrigleyville. And Wrigleyville, if you don't know, that's where the Cubs play. And it's like the ratchet bar bro-y type part of Chicago, right? So there's a lot of fights for no reason. There's a lot of like catcalling. There's just so much chaos happening, and it's all stuff that is like not. It doesn't faze you as much when you're like in your early 20s, right? You're just like, oh, I'm out where the party is. And I think if you go back there at like 30, you'll be like, ooh. Everyone here should call their mom. Everybody here. You know? But while I was out there, there was this guy that was walking and he was drunk. He had that like I've never seen anybody walk like this. Like he really was walking like his feet couldn't find the ground. And it's always going to be there. It's always every time. But he was like, And I couldn't believe he wasn't falling. He was staying upright and everything. And this guy was passing. And this guy was passing with his girlfriend. And the drunk guy, as they pass him, he clocks the girlfriend. And he just casually, like, spins on a heel and slaps her ass, right? Yeah, so she notices. She very much notices. And it's crazy. Almost all this could have been prevented because he's so off his balance that he almost missed, right? He almost had a very different night. And so basically he slaps her ass and then she turns around And then her boyfriend turns around. Now, he has not withdrawn his hand fast enough for the boyfriend to not know what just happened, right? So then he turns around, and this guy is like, the drunk guy is bigger than the guy whose girlfriend just got her ass slapped. So even though that dude goes like toe to toe with him in the next moment, I was still worried about the little guy because the little guy was little, right? And even in his drunken state, he's still like aware enough to know he was big enough to be an asshole, right? Because instead of apologizing or anything like that, he's like, "What you gonna do, little man? What you gonna do?" Right? And he didn't say it like that. He was like, "What's he gonna do, little man? What you gonna do, little man? What you gonna do, man? Huh? Ain't nobody. What you gonna do, little man?" And little dude wasn't little for long, because he popped that dude square in the mouth, and then big dude finally found the ground, right? And I had never seen this before in real life, but little dude didn't just fight him. He started doing actual wrestling moves on the street, right? This man, girlfriend been stepped out of the way, and this man goes, this man went this dude was going off, right? And it got to the point where even as a bystander, I was like, I think you got him. I think you got him. Because the big dude is not getting up at a certain point. He tried to get up the first time, and him trying to get up was hilarious because, okay, so let me see if I can do it. So he over here like this, right? So he on the ground. And then he tries to like, because he's so drunk, he doesn't know he on the ground, so he tries to walk up. This man tried to walk up while he was getting hit. He was getting hit in his face, and he was like, what is stopping me? It's crazy. What's happening? And then he really tries to like walk up, and then he finds the ground with his hand, and then he goes, "You gonna stop hitting me in my damn face?" And then when he said that, the dude uppercut him, and he went flat back down, right? And then the beating did turn a little bit too much into dancing, right? Like then the beating, because then he started to do stuff that was not even wrestling moves anymore. He was just like, pow. To the point where even his girl was like, "Hey, you got him." But you could tell, you could see it on his face that something deeper was bothering him than just this moment, right? Because if you're not, and I'm speaking on the behalf of men who are not big, right? If you are not a big man, you've probably been punked a couple times in your life, right? Or at least someone tried to punk you because they didn't know they shouldn't try you, right? And so then that stuff starts to well up, and then out of nowhere, you finally have a righteous opportunity to exercise all of that anger, so then you let loose. And when you don't stop, people are like, damn. And I said that because that's the best way I can illustrate what happened between Kendrick and Drake. Because Drake makes his little like club beats, and he does his little, and he's a good rapper, don't get me wrong, he's a good rapper, but he makes his little like get drunk to this type songs, dance and everything. And then he was calling out Whitney, Kendrick's wife, because that's what he likes to do. He likes to attack rappers by their wife. If you look through his catalog, he does it every time. And then Kendrick said, okay. I promise you, nothing but sweet chin music. I'm ready. All right? Because I think in order to understand, I really don't think people get it. In order to understand how important and powerful that pop-out concert was, you have to understand Nipsey Hussle. Okay? Nipsey Hussle was a rapper that a lot of people, at least as many people as I think should know, don't know. But what is one of the most important things about Nipsey Hussle, and what he would probably want you to know about him and remember about him, besides the fact that he was a phenomenal artist, is that he spent his time, his money, his attention, and all of his intention in improving the lives of the people that grew up around him, improving his community. Okay? This dude would pay for shoes for kids in elementary school that didn't have them. He would get repaved basketball courts that were in disarray, right? He would pay and help raise funds for funerals of victims and their families of gun violence, right? And this is all in his neighborhood. So the same way that people come up, he tried to bring everybody with him. That was his mission. He made it his mission because, yes, he was a great artist and he was getting on and everything, but you just getting out is not enough, right? Sometimes people make it out and then people don't, how do I put this? It's not enough if you just make it out. You want to bring people with you. Imagine you're in a burning building and so is your whole family. What credit is it to you? What does it really say about you if just you make it out? It means you ran out and you left everybody else. And Nipsey was like, I will die in a burning building if it means I get as many people out as possible, right? You know? Because it's very easy. It's one of the easiest things to do because all of your experience is relative to you, right? So you actually, as much as we may look down on it, you can't always fault someone who forgets where they came from. Especially if you came from a bad place. Sometimes you try to forget where you came from. You know? I used to think about that. I was like, damn, if I get rich enough, I won't be able to find this place on Google Maps. You know? But I mean it. It's like that's an amazing thing. And the other amazing thing, and I don't want this to come off the wrong way, but Nipsey did so much good. He did so many impactful things. He started so many programs and he taught how to give back and he taught people while he was still alive. It's like I want to instruct Black Americans on how to build franchises for themselves, right? So that when we make the money, we'll know what to do with the money, right? And he did all this with what I would consider very little money. Because yes, he was a big artist, and yes, he was a millionaire. But when he passed, when he was murdered, his net worth was about $8 million. And I think that people don't recognize how low that is in the grand scheme of how rich some of these artists are. We have artists that are billionaires, right? We have artists that are on track to be billionaires, and they don't do what he did with so much, with literally a fraction of what they had, right? And so I think it's important, in order to understand that pop-out concert, it's important to understand Nipsey and what he stood for and what he was trying to do. It's also important to at least understand the image and the legacy of Kobe, because Kobe was also this integral part of LA, integral part of sport, right? And no matter what you think about the man himself, what he did in basketball, the passion that he had, his obsession with his passion is exactly what he wanted to impart on people for whatever it is that they do. Whatever it is you do. It doesn't have to be entertainment. It doesn't have to be a sport. It could just be the passion you have for being a father, right? If your obsession is being the best at whatever your passion is, you will make an impact, right? It's why to this day, and when I was little, if I have a ball of paper and a trash can is far enough away, Kobe. And if I make it, I lose my mind. You know? And so it's also important, no matter what you think of the man himself. Kendrick is someone that both of these individuals showed love to. And he's someone that has an obsession for his passion, which is music. And he's also someone that through his music, and at least in the intention of how he speaks in every interview and in everything that I've read about him, wants to give the same way that Nipsey gave, right? And sort of be a beacon for those same principles. So then we have something like the Pop Out concert, which is on Juneteenth, which is a liberation day for black people, right? And then they all come together. And when I say they, I mean every section, every known and probably unknown section of LA's gang members were in one place at the same time. That's crazy. They were all there. And everyone made it about the beef, and he played the diss tracks. Of course they do. But it was bigger than that. There was a 4-hour concert with artists from all over LA, all over West Coast, putting on, making their amazing music shown to the world. And there was even a little detail, like, I haven't verified this thing, but I heard about it, and I know of someone that, at least I think it happened to, where the concert tickets sold so fast that I guess they were checking zip codes. And if you didn't live in or around LA or the West Coast, they were refunding people so that people in LA could go to the concert, right? Because the thing that Kendrick gives, at least to me, the thing that Nipsey gave, at least to me, and the thing that Kobe gives to a certain degree is an appreciation and a strengthening of community. Community is very important. And just because you're not a member of a particular community doesn't mean you can't help, doesn't mean you can't feel a part of it. But if you're in a community, it's important to give back. I think that's the thing I'm trying to establish, right? Is that if you're a part of a community, it's important to give back, right? Which is why, outside of any colorism, outside of any part of the beef, the thing that bothered people, and the thing that I think gets missed, because people want to be fans in whole of a person and their work, and it's just not possible. You know what I mean? It's not. You don't actually know the person, so maybe they made a good thing, and maybe you like it, and that can be enough, right? So this isn't to discredit the entirety of someone making work and then also having to back up that work with being an angel. But I think what bothers people is that community is sometimes equal to culture. So if you're not a member of a community and you take from the community, let's say you're a business that moves in and all you do is sit there and let the people spend money, and then you send that money away from the people who spent the money, that you put that. What place do you have here? We're trying to build something, and we're trying to build up. And you're just taking, right? And I understand business is business, but you're just taking. And I think that's what bothers a lot of artists about Drake. It's not that he's light skinned, whatever. It's literally, I promise you, it's the fact that you're not actually trying to be or in the community, but you take, and what do you give? You're a billionaire unto yourself. Who else did you get out the house?
Preach.
Because Nipsey did so much, and he did it, and he left with a net worth of $8 million. How many hundreds of millions? How many hundreds of millions does Drake have? And I'm not telling anybody how to spend their money. I'm just saying that when we look at who's doing what and when they're doing it, you got a lot left. So when you have a concert like that, right? When you have a concert that's a day of liberation, and you've grabbed all of these different sections out of LA, you gotta understand what it is for some of these people to be in the same room. By any other metric of any other time, they would be in the streets killing each other. And now they're all inside in one place right now, right? So I think that's what got so many people so emotional about that moment, when they were all on stage together dancing together, dancing the way. And I understand that there are lots of black people who don't have the take that I have about it, that think that any mention or any semblance of gang culture shouldn't be equated to any part of blackness. And I understand that, but I'm saying we are where we are, right? those are black people. And yes, they've been in situations and they've been in conditions where they are gang members. But if you have a day like the pop-out concert, and you have another day like the pop-out concert, you have another day like the pop-out concert, all of a sudden, all this stuff, it just disintegrates. Do you know what I mean? It's all about a future, right? You had more gang members than we do not know how many gang members were on that stage, but they were all dancing together. And sure, it was to call Drake a pedophile. I understand that. I understand. But they had to dance to something, right? And so it was actually fascinating to watch, because there were clearly a lot of people on that stage that did not want to be on the camera. They didn't want to, you know what I mean? They didn't want to be on the Amazon. Because even if I think one of the reasons people are having trouble finding the words to describe what an impactful and beautiful moment it was is because to tell the whole of it is not only hard to do, it does feel a little like snitching. You know what I mean? Like if you're like, he was there and he was there and he was there. Now all of a sudden the LAPD is like, tell me more. You know? And so maybe for the good of unity, the good of the community, maybe even the good of the culture, maybe Drake should try one more time. Maybe he should.
I don't know if y'all saw where Walmart had to issue a recall in several states because their Great Value, which is the name of the brand that Walmart makes, their Great Value shrimp was found to have radioactive isotopes in it. Whatever happened to like regular nasty? You know what I mean? But you know what I mean? You ever had a chip before and been like, this chip a little stale? When we were growing up, the chips would be stale. The date will have expired. They didn't rotate the inventory. And so now you weren't looking either. So then you bought it, you brought it home, you dipped it into the sauce, the knockoff sauce. And then you went to take a bite, and then the bite was not bitten. The chip was so strong, you just scraped back sauce straight into your mouth. Because the chip was powerful, the chip petrified, because it's been stale. And you're like, maybe that was a fluke, you know? All these chips in the bag, different ages, shapes, and sizes. So let me try another chip. And then, because you don't want to chip a tooth, you decide to break this one with your fingers. And you can't, because the entire bag is stale. Remember stale? I never thought I would miss regular stale. Now, food here in America is radioactive. I'm not gonna act like I know why it's radioactive. I don't know why it's radioactive. But it's radioactive because they say it's radioactive. I'm not gonna blame it on the shrimp. What were we doing near the shrimp that was radioactive? We act like radioactivity is like easy to come by. It's not. You know, there's obviously radio waves everywhere. You use a radio, you know, you use a microwave and so, but real radioactivity that sticks with you. And that's the thing too, is that these suppliers, they supply all these different stores, and sometimes by the time it gets to you, it's just a different label that's put on it. But it's from the same place, and it's the same people doing the same stuff. And Walmart's, you know, brand is Great Value. And I'm not gonna lie to you, this may make me sound pretty bougie, but I don't really like the, store store's brand. I don't know. I just don't believe them. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like, no, I don't think you do this well. It's like when you go to a diner and it's like got 96 pages on the menu, but it's not a Cheesecake Factory. So you're like, nah, only one establishment so far has been able to pull off this many pages. There's no way y'all have that much in the back. It's not possible. I drove around to park. I know that the kitchen can't be that big. How you gonna have lobster and quesadillas and you got burgers and fries, but you also have tres leches, but then you also have pad thai? Like, at a certain point, y'all just making stuff up back there. Like, you got sticky rice, sushi rice, white rice, brown rice, mango sticky rice, paella. Like, either the chef back there is the most talented individual that has ever lived. Either something is going on right now and we're all a part of someone's YouTube prank show, and Gordon Ramsay is back there just waiting for us to tear up our stomachs by ordering things that aren't even on the same page. When you go to a diner like that, by the way, stick to one page. Because whatever you get, I treat diner food and diner food with lots of variety, because you know when they go back there and you order the lobster pasta, they got one lobster. Like, they about to have to scratch out that thing on the menu. But I feel like if you stick to one page, it's a lot like sticking to one type of alcohol. If you go full breakfast with it, you're gonna get a regular amount of sick. Hear me out, because all across America, you got these diners that got 87 pages to them, and then you're like, oh, it's too many choices, what do I do? One thing. You find one lane and you drive down it. Do you understand me? I don't want to see you go French toast and pad see ew. Y'all laughing, but people are out here wild. I went to a diner with some friends, one of these diners I'm telling you about, and it had, so on their menu, I'm not exaggerating, on their menu, they had 26 pages with pictures. Now, the pictures were obviously stolen from online. They did not take any of these pictures. They hit Google Images and they printed it out and they put it next to the ... lobster pasta, right? And the other thing that, look, this is an aside thing, this actually has nothing to do with anything, but also on the menu, they had numbered everything. Like, they had numbered every order. Like, you know, like when you go to like a restaurant and they'll have the traditional pronunciation of the dish and then they have the number. They did that, but everything was in English. And so you could just order 102 and a number 5 together. And it's like, that sounds like it'll tear up your stomach just as much. Just as much as saying, can I have the Tom Kha? Can I have the Tom Kha and the baby back ribs? But my friend was over here like, oh, it's too many choices. You can do so much. You could do barbecue. You could do Chinese. You could do, this is amazing. And I was like, no, it's the only thing open. And I warned him. I was like, you need to pick one. I'm telling you right now, you better pick one. Okay? One page, go right down that page, because I bet you they do that page very well. I bet you if you pick a lane in this diner right now and you're like, hey, the whole table, we just gonna do Mexican food. We're gonna get some tacos, quesadillas. You already got the meat back there, just chop it up. You know what I mean? I think it'll be fine. But if you start hitting them with the around the world special, which is what one of the pages was called, I think they're going to give you the food. I think you're going to enjoy it. I also think you're going to get an otherworldly type of sick. But no, he knew better. He didn't listen to me. This man got baby back ribs, spaghetti and meatballs, spaghetti and meatballs, and a matzo ball soup. Now, you know how they say that sometimes when you're driving down the highway and there's like a natural instinct to watch the wreckage of a car accident as you pass by. That was every plate they brought to him. I kept watching him this man was taking bites of baby back ribs and then sips of soup and everything. And I was like, I don't know how you feel like this is a good idea. I got 3 scrambled eggs. And I made sure to order before he could finish ordering, because I was like, keep me separate from him. I know that a bunch of sauce is going to be sloshing together. And sure enough, we leave, we get in the car, we drive for an hour. And then out of nowhere, we hear our friend who's driving go, ooh. This is why I got so mad, because I knew we had 4 more hours of driving to do, and I knew for a fact that his bad decisions would affect me. I didn't know when, I didn't know exactly how, but I knew this would happen. So he goes, ooh. And it was low, it was quiet, it was to himself, but it did cut through the music. Go, oh, And so then, look, I try not to be that friend. I try not to be the I told you so person, but I go, what? What is it? And he's like, oof, I knew he was in a bad way. He didn't want to answer me because he knew it was going to be an I told you so moment, because I did tell him so, and then I watched him eat for 42 minutes. I watched him eat stuff that I know had to be old. When do people get baby back ribs at this abandoned diner? I'm sure the cook in the back was like, what does he want? Ask him, is he sure? Ask him, is he sure? You're not gonna put somebody's death on me. I'm not gonna catch a body. He's sitting there, ooh. And I'm like, what? And he doesn't want to answer me. But I knew he was hot. I knew this how bad off he was. Any cuisine that you eat, anything that you eat, especially when you eat a lot of it, especially when it is good, when you got something authentic, or you just got something that was seasoned right, and you eat too much of it, it has a different impression on you. It always does. Different impression. You get some good barbecue, but you eat a little bit too much of it, you get those meat sweats. You don't even know what's happening. Meat sweats are the closest I think they're the closest men will ever come to a hot flash, because they don't even know what's happening to their body. They're just like, You ever be so hot that you blinking extra? Like all the cool air is over there. If you could just see it clearly, it would cool you down. You ever get so hot you sweat in your own eye? Over here, And then, there's other foods that just sit heavy. You eat too much of them and they let you know, hey, we'll never leave you. And then there's some foods that, because of the cuisine, there's a little bit extra spice in it, makes your throat a little hot, makes you burp, and just gives you a little heartburn if you overdo it. He had all three. This man was sitting there with a hot rock in his stomach. You know those stoves they put on people when they do the massage or they warm it up? He had 3 of those in his stomach, just holding it. Ooh, and I could tell this man started breathing heavy and everything. And when he brought the window down, I knew he was in trouble. I turned to our friends in the back. I was like, hey, somebody else gonna need a drive soon. Over here sweating hard, blinking hard. And I'm literally almost been knocked out. Out of concern for my friend, I've almost been knocked out of I told you so, but not yet. I go, what? And he goes, I think I'm gonna wreck the car. What an insane jump. He doesn't go, I need to stop, let me pull over, I don't feel so good. This man ate off so many menus, he's like, I'm gonna kill all of y'all. I'm gonna flip this car as hard as I can until it lands right side up. And everybody in it dead. And then this man did something that to this day I have not forgiven him for. You've had it happen to you. We've all, every one of us, fallen prey to an act that, while human, needs to be corrected beyond measure. If violence were to break out after this action, I don't know if I could hold the party responsible. Because this man who just said he's about to wreck the car leaned his head out the window, tried to get some cool air on his face. And when he leaned out the window, he thought he was slick. He wasn't sick. When he leaned out the window, he went. Just from the hip placement, you know what's happening. Just from this right here. Just that little pivot. Like a dog. Like a dog near a tree. This man leans over. You know what's terrifying? You know what shook me to my core? I heard nothing. I didn't hear a sound. Genuinely, when I didn't hear anything, I thought I couldn't hear. Literally, the way that this man cocked his hip, and then I heard nothing. Imagine if you saw a nuclear explosion, but then there was no boom after you. Like, I guess I'm already gone then? I must have died so fast I didn't notice. This must be how they make ghosts. This man cocked his hip. I heard nothing. I heard nothing at all. until I heard my friend in the back go, "Oh!" Look, I'm not gonna act like I know how, there's a difference in the air in the car because he's opened the window and the air conditioner was blowing. It was all blown on him. He was very hot. But I'm not gonna act like I understand why what happened went backwards first. All I know is I hear my friend go, "Oh!" and then my buddy next to him goes, like when you begin to choke. You know, like right before somebody need that Heimlich, before they're like I don't know why. It went backwards first. All I know is that when it hit me, my first instinct was to scream. But I held back. I held back because screaming would open my mouth. So I went like a silent movie at a 1920s sanitarium, all right? And I'm fighting to find the button for the window. I can't find it because not only am I trying to lean away, I have closed my eyes because they started to burn. And so I'm palming the door. I'm like, I palm the door, and I don't find the button to lower the window, but I do bang my head against the glass like Night at the Roxbury. And finally I feel something, and out of desperation, I just flick it, and that opens the door. The door is open, and I'm leaning out, holding the door like. And I feel like, look, I'm wearing my seatbelt. You gotta wear a seatbelt, but I do feel like I've already fallen out of the car because the sound of my friend screaming is getting fainter. It started out, oh, and now is, oh. We in the same car, why he getting further away? And then our friend driving both saved and ruined my life because he pulled me back. I slammed the door, and now we're all just inside. With him. And I gotta be honest with you, genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, when he pulled me back in, I wished he had just flipped the car. I wish he had just wrecked the whole thing. But yeah, it's just You already do your best when it comes to food. You already eat what you think is healthy. You already try. And so when you got these programs that make sure that the food is good and you end up with great value radioactive shrimp. It's absolutely unacceptable. All I'm saying is, I don't always trust the brand that the store has, because I'm like, y'all don't do this too. There's no way. I believe you do napkins, CVS. I believe y'all's napkin game is probably, y'all got the same printer and everything. Y'all got the same little bumps on the napkin. I'm with you. Once it gets to soups, I think that y'all are just guessing. If I go into Walgreens, already I'm there for drugs. I'm there because my nose is running or something like that, or I just want a bottle of water. The idea that Walgreens specifically is like, we make pasta too. Do you though? Like, it's just... That's always been unsettling, that like a place that's not, like this is just me, maybe I'm being bougie, but I want my sauce to come from a place that's like, we make sauce. That's like our whole thing. We love, as Ragu, we love making sauce. We don't like anything solid around. So then when you go to a store and you see next to the Ragu is either your local store or this chain being like, we make sauce too, and it's just like that sauce. It's like, I know that it's cheaper, and I know I'm gonna buy it because it's cheaper, but I'm gonna think about how it's not Ragu while I'm eating it. I used to work at a store that, this was an insane experience, but I worked at a store where we didn't know we knew what we sold as a base, but then there would be deals that would come in, and I don't know who was doing these deals like out in the world, but then we get a whole shipment of stuff we had to try to sell until it was gone, hopefully. There's no way to run a business, but I remember there was one week we just got a whole shipment of fire extinguishers. And to be fair, a lot of people don't have a fire extinguisher, and a lot of people live in conditions where they should absolutely have a fire extinguisher. Sure, I'm with you there, right? But these fire extinguishers were the size of like a big gulp. You know what I mean? Like these were like mini fire extinguishers that I don't even think could put out a hot shower. We also had to sell, this one time, we just got toilet seats. And it occurred to me at one point, I was like, who shops here? Like sometimes I'd see customers in there and I'm like, you just know you need stuff and then you hope stuff is out there. Like, the idea that we got a shipment of toilet seats off of nothing, and then someone came in and was like, that's just what I did. It's like that, it does make you believe in like the law of attraction, I suppose, but like, doesn't seem like a great business model. One of the wildest things we sold at that store was condoms. But they were like store brand condoms. Do you know how much you're taking your lives into your hands? We've established condoms. You don't need a great value condom. A great value condom is how you end up with another great value customer. Oh. No, it's insane. And then when you have these radioactive shrimp, right? Talking about it like I'm familiar, but when you have radioactive shrimp, what the stores will do is they'll obviously pull everything off the shelf, And then they will go ahead and put up a note, usually on the cash register. That way, they've already pulled their inventory, but if anybody bought some last week, yesterday, whatever, they could read that. It helps spread the word, you know? And then one precaution that a lot of places take is they will print out the SKU, which is like that universal number for the product, a picture of the product, and then a little paragraph explanation of what happened. And then sometimes, depending on the store, they will put that at the cashier's register so that people can read it while they're checking out. So that way, if they already bought the shrimp and took it home, they'll know to throw it away. Because the paragraph will say something to the effect of like, if you bought our product, you know, whatever, radioactive shrimp, and you have it at home right now, please throw it away, because we found that this product was not up to our quality standard. We apologize that it was ever on the shelf, and that it is radioactive. Thank you for your attention to this matter, and being a loyal customer. But that paragraph doesn't have the urgency that goes along with radioactive shrimp. Even the announcement, even the news didn't have the correct. It's radioactive shrimp. They didn't have the correct response for radioactive shrimp. To me, maybe I'm crazy. I need somebody to be walking up and down the aisle. The shrimp radioactive. Like, you need someone with some urgency. This printout is not doing it. And they know what they're doing, because the toner, like the ink on the printer, not even good. So you barely see the image, and then the letters are faded. So you're trying to read it, and it's like a whisper. It's like reading a whisper in real time, where they're like, hey, something with the shrimp. It's radioactive. No. We have so many people in this country looking for work, unemployed. Hire someone to be the person who announces what's been recalled. Walking up and down the store. I hope you didn't get the shrimp last week, because the shrimp radioactive. You can hear that shrimp. That shrimp go. Oh, watch out! The shrimp is. I had one. I ate one just to make sure, and one of my eyes turned blue. No, you gotta get up in there. You gotta do something more than just a printout that I'm probably not gonna see, because admittedly, I'm looking at the Skittles. You need a person in there walking up and down the aisle. You might even ask for an item that's been recalled because you didn't hear the news. Sometimes that happens with vegetables even. Sometimes the spinach or the romaine will get recalled just because of what they've been exposed to. And you need a person to be walking up and down the produce aisle like, sorry, we don't have the spinach. It had that E. coli. It has... What's the E for? He had E. coli all over him, so we had to send him back. Perhaps you'll enjoy some arugula. They don't just scream, they're also helpful. I don't like to think of myself as a bigot, but when it comes to milk, I am pretty intolerant. I have a problem with milk being in my things. If I even hear milk is in a dish, I'm like, get them out of here. Sometimes there'll be milk and stuff that milk isn't normally in, and that's when I sound bad. I'm like, they not even supposed to be here. They as in the cultures in the milk. And I don't know. I've been watching this thing happen. They say that they're going to make America healthy again, but then they're like, oh, but you could just do a bunch of wild stuff you weren't doing before that definitely runs the risk of making you sick. There are people that are like, I want to drink my raw milk. Why can't I drink my raw milk? And it's like, okay. If just you drink the milk, I think that's fine. Genuinely, if somebody wants to drink raw milk and they're drinking raw milk and they're like, dude, this is what I want, like that to me is not bad. That to me is how it should be. You want the raw milk, you drink that. It's when we normalize the buying and selling of raw milk that we start to spread the power of raw milk to tear up your life. You think you lactose intolerant, get some of that raw milk in you. That raw milk will get in your stomach and be like, this is nice, yeah. Be like Van Halen in a hotel room, you know what I mean? Now you sitting there. Everybody told you not to drink the raw milk. They told you couldn't handle it. You're like, I'm going to handle it. Natural is the best way. I'm going to have my raw milk. And then 30 minutes later, oh. I'm sitting next to you. What? But truly, I think we don't put ourselves enough in the position of what it's like to take one of those products home that's been recalled, and maybe you don't watch the news, maybe you didn't get the notification on your phone, maybe you're trying to unplug because most news is pretty bad and the notifications on your phone keep you on your phone, which is not a happy place because of how you use your phone and how the systems on your phone affect you, how the platforms, whether it's social or it's just the way that you lose attention to anything that you're doing for the phone. And so you try to disconnect, and then you go to Walmart again and you don't happen to see the printed out paper that is very, very faint. I'm not a scientist, but I imagine that if you put radioactive shrimp in the microwave, you about to turn your kitchen into a science experiment. You over there cooking the shrimp in the microwave, just looking at the door. Anytime, I don't know what it is about us, but maybe I'm the only one that's experienced this, but I've known 3 different microwaves catch on fire. And in all 3 scenarios, the person who owned that microwave, who was making something, was looking through the door like, is that fire or is that just how it cook? Yes, all 3 were dudes, yes. And so, in that case, all 3 dudes were like, I don't know, you know, when you pop popcorn, the bag get big, I don't know. Maybe this chicken sandwich supposed to be on fire. It's like, no, it's not. It's not. You put a Chick-fil-A sandwich still in the foil right into the microwave. And so, yes, your sandwich is on fire, but that's not part of the process. You should probably open the door, put that out. Use the tongs. Don't use your hand. You know what I mean? And so now you microwaved your shrimp. You're staring at the door. are they floating? Look, I don't know anything about radioactive shrimp, but I imagine a radioactive shrimp at least has the possibility of waking up. Imagine, you're a shrimp. You go on about your business, minding your own business, and then you get caught by some people from above. And somewhere along the line in your life, while you were down there in the water, or after you've been caught, you came across some radioactive material, not a usual part of the process. And then you end up at a facility where they bag you up with your brethren. They put great value on the bag. They send it to a local Walmart, and then you lay there in the bag. Somebody grabs the bag, somebody scans the bag, somebody bags the bag. They take you home. They open the bag into a bowl. They wash you off real quick like that's gonna do something. Everything wrong with you is on the inside. And then they throw you in the microwave because they can't cook. And you laying there. And then someone hits 3 minutes, which is too long. And you feel yourself. You open your eyes and you see a big old face. A big old face going. You're supposed to be floating. You can't really make it out. You don't speak English. You're a shrimp, but someone finally has the wherewithal to press the open button on the microwave, and you fall back, and then you stand up. You stand up and walk out of the bowl. Nobody stops you. They're too busy running around screaming and praying. But something's happening. Something you've never experienced before. You're just used to swimming and crawling. But now something's happening. You have an awareness of yourself. You don't know how, you don't know why, but then you start to, out of nowhere, have these, not the word for it, what's the word for it? You've never had this before. What's the word for it? But you start to have these thoughts. You're out here really thinking. You're thinking about your entire life. What happened to you? That radioactive material you came across. And now, you decide, you know what, I'm gonna go out on my own. I'm gonna head for the door. And these great value customers are more than willing to let you leave. And you go out into the world. You start to see, hear everything. You might even have some awareness of things that you haven't even come in contact with. Maybe it's super hearing, maybe it's telekinesis, who knows? And you come across a newspaper. You read a newspaper. And you're terrified. Because with only having, an hour's worth of knowledge and understanding, you can tell that things are bad. Things are not ideal in the world. You don't know what to do about it exactly, but you end up reading an article that's of a lot of importance to you because it's about you. It's about how there are radioactive shrimp at Walmart, and you're like, that's me. What should we do about this? I know what I'll do. I'll go to Washington. Because this little bit of life that I've been given, it's important that I use it for a purpose. It's important that I do something with it. The whole purpose of life is to not just be a witness, but be a connection to another life. And so I want to connect to all these lives I'm coming in contact with. I got to dodge a lot of feet to get there, but it's okay. And so you go to Washington and you decide to go to what you potentially feel is the source of the problem. People have been loosening regulations. People have been lobbying the Food and Drug Administration. They've been gutting the EPA. They've been gutting every safeguard that the people have to be able to eat food that's not radioactive. And so, for whatever reason, you decide you're on the side of the people, and so you go to a house, one specific house, and you crawl into a bowl, one singular bowl, and you let yourself be eaten by the head of Health and Human Services. And let's be clear, he notices you glowing, but and it was a sacrifice that you made, and it's a sacrifice that was very gross. There was a lot of roadkill on the plate. Then you climbed onto a bed of rice in the bowl, and then, you get slurped down, and now you're down there in RFK Jr.'s stomach. And you're surrounded by something. You don't know what it is, but after a while, because of all of this knowledge you've absorbed over your short lifetime, you realize, raw milk. Ugh. And then you let yourself fall away. And it was all worth it because RFK Jr. is over here sitting at a press conference talking about how we're going to introduce more raw milk into the U.S. or, going to make sure every kid eats roadkill for breakfast or something. I don't know. I don't know what the next initiative is, but while he's sitting there RFK Jr. goes, whew. Yo, my stomach hurts. It was the best you could do.